be 1 hour approximately. We will have 40 minutes, 45-minute presentation, and then we invite other friends to give an input or to give questions. And then we will wrap up within 1 hour, inshallah. So today, Pak Habib and Prof. Fachruddin will be presenting on a topic of Green Ramadan, social piety, and future literacy in the post-COVID pandemic. We will invite first Pak Habib, and then Pak Habib will introduce Prof. Fachruddin, and then invite Prof. Fachruddin to present the input. So without further ado, we invite our dear brother Pak Habib Chirzin. Silakan Pak.
Thank you, Brother Sharon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi domina sa'ada fid dunya wal akhirah. Addaha liman ittaqa wa amana wa amila salihat. Alladzi yukafil mujahidin wal amilin al mujtidin al sabrihim wa thabatihim. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala hadha nabil karim wa rasulil azim wa tamana nabiyyin ومن تبع هداه إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Dear respected brothers, the President and the members of Board of Trustees of IIIT, the respected Secretary General of the IIIT, and all of the brothers and sisters of the representative, the regional representative, East Southeast Asia, United States, Africa, and some of the European countries, and also from the Middle East, and all of the participants. I wish you all a very greatest and holy Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. It's indeed a great pleasure to me to see all of you in this special program of IIIT, the Tazkirah Ramadan online organized by IIIT East and Southeast Asia. And I'm very happy to share with you some of the critical reflections, more on the reflections on our own fasting. How do we fast and how we perform our fasting, and how do we improve and even reform our fasting in the new context of the COVID pandemic and in the situation of the global warming and the climate change situation of the world, and also in the context of our responsibility to our common future, and also to our humanity, as well as our responsibility to our beautiful tiny planets where we share the life, we share the whole resources of our life. So I'm happy to share with my dear brother, Dr. Fachruddin Mangunjaya from University of National Jakarta on the topic of the Green Ramadan. Why Green Ramadan? Actually, we are happy that since last 30 years, since the resurgence of Islam in the 1980s, where we have been witnessing the new type of piety of the middle class, especially of the urban intellectuals. In the context of Indonesia, for instance, during the Ramadan in the Islamic community, in the Muhammadiyah community, we used to have iftar and even taraweh, salat in the hotels, in the restaurants, and even we have the special program for iftar and taraweh in the residence of the ministers, day by day, the series of the iftar and taraweh. We have the list of the ministers even the chair of the uh, National Assembly, Majelis Permusyawaratan Rakyat, and the speakers of the Parliament, Ketua DPR, and even in the residence of the Vice President and the President. It means that there is new emergence of piety among the urban intellectuals in such form. And now in the context of the COVID pandemic, the global warming and the climate change, we are urged to reflect, critically reflect on the context and how the relevance of the text of the Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu, ya kutiba alaikumusiyam, in the context of climate change, of siyam in the context of the global warming, kutiba alaikumusiyam in the context of the new pandemic, is the question of relevance, the questions of the new context. That's why we come to the new way of responding this context, the new way of we are treating or dealing with the new context of Ramadan. Green Ramadan is the new response to the new context of our current situation, not only in our region, but on the global situations of the warming and the climate change, which created the destruction of the production of the people, especially who live in the rural areas, and also the escalation of the disasters, especially not only natural, but human disasters, human-made disasters, because of the misuse of technology or over exploitation of our resources, especially in our current world situation. The initiative of the Ramadan, the Green Ramadan, it's in the same time with the new awareness of the our environmental degradation, our responsibility to conserve and preserve, because we used to have the ethics, Judeo-Christianity ethics, which dominance over the planet, over the resources. And now we come to reflect to our own ethics, the eco-ethics, ecological ethics, which based on stewardship, and also based on the rahmatan lil alamin and the khilafah, vicegerency of the human being over the planet, over the whole creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not the creator, we are not the master to this planet, master of the whole creation. We are part of the community of the world, the community of what we call the biodiversity. We are human beings also part of the biodiversity. Our language, our tradition, our way of life, our way of agriculture is part of the whole planet's biodiversity, and we are part of this, the whole Earth community. We are part of the whole Earth community. That's why the new deep ecology, we need to learn further, and even we go deeper to the deep ecology, not to the shallow ecology, because we read the Quran and we read the count. We have two readings. We have to integrate between the qira'ah al-kawniyah and qira'ah al-wahyah, al-Quraniyah. So the issue of green ecology, deep ecology, green campus, green pesantren, green Ramadan is matter of integration of knowledge. It's matter of implementation or application of maqasidus syariah. We are led by maqasidus syariah. Maqasidus syariah is our source of ethics, even our source of our hikmah, wisdom in dealing with environment, with ecology. In the Maqasidut Sharia, we remember the first on the Hifdul Hayah, the protection of life is the very, very fundamental Maqasidut Sharia. Higher Maqasid, purpose, the higher purpose of Sharia, that we have to preserve the life, the whole life, not only human life, but all of the creatures, even the life of the earth itself. The earth is a living creatures. Yeah? Yeah. It's not only matter, it's a living creature. And we have to share our life. We share our source of life with all of the creatures. And also the hifdul bi'ah, that the protection of environment is one of the maqasidus sharia. And all of the maqasidus sharia al-hams, and even we come with new maqasid in the context of human dignity, that the creation or the life, the sanctity of life, the sanctity of life. So we have to respect the life, respect the creation, respect our fellow creatures. Yeah, we are part of this creation. Wa antumul khaliqun wa mahlukun wa nahnul khaliq. Allah is the creator, and we have to respect the sanctity.
Pak Habib, unmute. Pak Habib, unmute. Pak Habib, unmute.
Yes.
Okay, udah.
And actually, we are not alone. I mean, we are in the region, not alone, because ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America, has also initiated this green Ramadan in last 4 years, I think, and I have been also advocating in developing program on the environment friendly masjid, Ramadan. It's a matter of the expanding, expanding and reforming our piety from the personal piety to the social piety. So it's a matter of text and context. How to contextualize our Ramadan, or contextualize our fasting during Ramadan. I'm happy here to share with you that Suara Muhammadiyah is one of the majalah of the journal, and magazine published by Muhammadiyah monthly. I mean bi-monthly. In the last number, before Ramadan, it came out with the akhlak lingkungan, the ethics of the environment. It has been forgotten due to the escalation of the use of the intellectual, more on the artificial intelligence. We destroy our own world and even our human dignity. So this Muhammadiyah magazine came out with the akhlak lingkungan, the eco ethics. This magazine has been published since 106 years ago. Since 106 years ago. It's number 106. I would like to share with you that that this came with the series on the eco ethics. We need the new eco ethics because the eco ethics is in the same relevancy with the eco development, with the ethics of peace ethic, and even the ethics of the feminist, of the gender, piety in the gender life and the gender justice. So eco justice, peace justice, and gender justice are in the same line of the new trend of dealing with our ecology. And I'm happy to share with you here that also the Muhammadiyah journal came out with the fikih agrarian, because the issue of global warming and climate change is interrelated with the agrarian reform, with the agrarian life, the use, land ownership, land distribution, and even to the agrarian reform and so on and so forth. That's why the fikih of the environment, fikih al-bi'ah, alhamdulillah, some of the organizations, even I think the Majlis Ulama, Nahdlatul Ulama, and Muhammadiyah have came out with the fikih al-bi'ah, and even pesantren, pesantren Pabelan, for instance, has been practicing this fikih of bi'ah since its initial development, its development of the pesantren, the greening of the pesantren has been appreciated not only by the Indonesian community, but by the United Nations, by the UNICEF, by the FAO, and Pesantren Pabelan has received an award, national award on the conservation of nature, protection of nature. It's famous to be called by the Kalpataru. Has been presented by the President on behalf of the Ministry of Environment in 1980, and it's again received this award for the second time after 20 years. In 2007, Pesantren Pabelan again received the Kalpataru Award from the President on the environmental protection. It means that during 20 years, the pesantren has consistently, the consistency is very important, consistently developed the green or the eco pesantren, and also consistently preserve or conserve the water, conserve the greenery, especially the rare or the biodiversity. I'm happy to mention here that the masjid, the green masjid, has been also developed in some different cities in my area in Muntilan. I think since last 3 years, they have practiced the green masjid. It's the what do you call zero waste, especially the waste from the wudu. Yeah, it's circulated, the water recirculated for the greenery, and also the garbage, their garbage, what we call the bank, garbage banks. They have like a garbage bank, and they can barter the garbage with the daily necessity, like the rice and even what for your necessity for your food. Yeah. They can barter. You can buy in the cooperative. You can buy the daily necessity with this garbage. Yeah. So it's the way the people trying to conserve the nature and also to have the clean water, the clean masjid, the clean kampung, the green kampung. The kampung of Kauman in Muntilan has been becoming one of the green and eco kampung. And always the women has been actively involved in this program. And I'm happy to share with you here the latest program of the Asia and the Green Asia, in the Eco Kampung, Eco Masjid, and they came out with the edition 4 in this month, the month of April, that they came out with the report on Cinta Bumi Selamatkan Generasi, loving the earth and to preserve the generation. This the new, this majalah, this magazine of Asia, Suara Asia. Suara Asia is the voice of Asia. Asia is the women wing of Muhammadiyah. This has come out since last 95 years. Since last 95 years. I'm happy to mention here that according to my brother, the late Dr. Jos Adicondro, one of the founder of WALHI, the Wahana Lingkungan Hidup, the environment activist from the Cornell University. When I visited Cornell in 1987, he taught me, Habib, that the first magazine in Indonesia, which came out with the rubric and also writing on ecology, was Suara Asia. So Suara Asia was the initiator of the in its editorial. It's written by a lady, Tri Hastuti, the dampak perubahan lingkungan, perubahan iklim bagi kehidupan, the impact of the climate change to the life in the world, in the earth life. And also it came out with fikih, fikih kelola agraria solusi perubahan iklim. The new fikih in managing the agrarian activities is the new solution of the climate change. It's interesting because it has been written by the ladies in Kampung Lingkungan. They came out with the Kampung Lingkungan. Kampung Lingkungan, atasi perubahan iklim berbasis kampung. That kampung based on the climate change. What do you call situation, and the mission, the ICIIT mission on the protection of the earth. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, and I would like also to share with you that this magazine, this number, the last number, the April, the mid of April, Lestarikan Bumi, conserve the earth dengan gaya hidup ramah lingkungan, with the new way of life, which is environmentally friendly, environmental friendly. So that's what I would like to share with you, that in this current situation of the COVID, we have to have a new forward or literacy for the future, because we will be living in the new situation with the new way of life, the new mode of life. So we need a new way of looking forward the future. I'm inviting my dear brother here, Dr. Fachruddin Mangunjaya. He is an environmentalist. His basic is professor on the ecology, Islamic and ecology, and he is currently the director of the Center for Islamic Education and Studies in Universitas Nasional. And for your information, that actually have been working very closely with the university, especially in the Center for Philosophy and Future of Humanity in the late 80s. And it has come out with this magazine, this journal, on the philosophy and future of humanity. It's in January 1991. So I used to help Professor Ali Shabana, the first rector of this Universitas Nasional and initiator of the philosophy and the future of humanity. And I would like to draw your attention to the future studies, that the futurists actually has been published many years ago, and I happened to learn this futurology, and I have been invited to the several future seminars, especially in the relation in the what do you call forecasting for the futures. And the first was in 1987. I was invited to Minamata in Japan by the Alliance of the Hope, for the first 21st century. And then in the same years, I was invited to Hawaii, to the University of Hawaii in Manoa, and the World Centers of Future Centers, where Massini, I think Eleonora Massini was one of the director, and we learned about the new futures. And certainly, this is one of the latest book, The Future of Almost Everything. The Future of Almost Everything, by Patrick Dixon, how our world will change over the next 100 years. So we have to be prepared. And Dr. Ziauddin Sardar, one of the prominent thinker in the Islamic world, has written books on the future of Islam, and we studied that in the 90s and have been working with him in 1994 in the International Movement for the Just World, and both of us have been assigned as the International Advisory Panel for Life, Alhamdulillah. And I'm happy here also to introduce our program with Dr. Ziauddin Sardar and Jordi Sira and Scott Jordan. We have been organizing at least 3-4 times of the post normal time society, Muslim societies in the post normal times. And I would like also to invite our brothers and sisters to join this program organized by IIIT with Dr. Ziauddin Sardar, our chairman, our president, Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, Scott Jordan, Jordi Sira, and also organized by Professor Asram Hanif and Professor Ozan Nurdin, and also Professor Dato Jamil Usman in Piety. That's what I would like to share with you, and I would like to invite my dear brother, Professor Dr. Fachruddin Mangunjaya, to come with new ideas on the eco pesantren, on the eco development, on the eco ethics, and so on and so forth in the context of eco religion and green deen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Falyatafaddal mashkuran, my dear brother.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna fi khalqis samawati wa ma fil ardh wa ikhtilafil laili wan nahari laayatil liulil albab. Brother and sister, thank you for our respected senior, Professor Habib Chirzin Al-Ustad, and for the opportunity to go being together as this IIIT. Of course, respected Secretary General of ASEAN of IIIT, if happened to be here, and also our colleagues in Malaysia as well and Indonesia. There are so many have to share, but in the limited time, we have heard many new things from Ustad Habib Chirzin about the activities of Muhammadiyah and Aisyah in Jakarta as well. We also have known that our current challenge for the humanity is nevertheless is most important is then climate change, and environment is the most important aspect now in our life. So as an activist, I've been almost 30 years. I've been in conservation since my age of teenagers. I work in a national park, and I learned orangutan. In my kampung in Kalimantan, and then I went to Jakarta for pursuing university studies, and I find there is the conservation piety in practical Islamic life. If you see the orangutan is very tame, in the periphery of coastal in Kalimantan because of not a conservation or not a protection or not recently the conservation law. It's because the Islamic ethics for the environment. Islam was prohibited or make it haram to consume the primate. That is why the primate is still there. It is interesting to me to learn about why the Muslim society in the coastal part of Kalimantan, as well in, I think, in Peninsula and as well in Sumatra, they are not consuming the animal. So by that, they are not hunting that animal. So the animal is still alive until now, and we can see that they are helping human, including to in seed dispersal, and also making another income because many tourists, ecotourism coming from abroad to see the orangutan, and many researchers as well to see the orangutan in the forest of Borneo. We can see that also in Sabah, and this is the a form of environmental ethics and I think Islamic piety guidance by the fiqh, as Professor Habib mentioned about the Maqasid Sharia, because we see the old kitab Sabil al-Muhtadin was influenced not only in Kalimantan. This was written by a scholar, by Mufti Syekh Muhammad Al-Sad Al-Banjari in Kalimantan, but it spread through Terengganu to Southern Asia, northern part of Malaysia, of course, in Patani areas, etc., to Champa. And it's written in Malay language in 17th century. On that books, if you open the Al-Atimah, Babul Atimah, you see there are several animal was protected, not prohibited. No, not protected. No, the several animal prohibited to consume. This is a pact with the conservation. Interestingly, that is why further I'm thinking the Islamic ethic and teaching should be disseminated and more largely on the more wide sense. Then I engaged with so many scholars on abroad and met some scholars such as Pajun Halid and Ibrahim Ozdemir and Professor Azizan Baharudin of IIIT. I see we are sitting together now as a college, and we are one of the drafting team member of Islamic Declaration on Global Climate Change. If I may share, that's Islamic Declaration of Global Climate Change is one of the response of the Islamic worldview on the climate change. It was recently published in 2015 in Istanbul. So you might browse it, Islamic Declaration on Global Climate Change. We have already that right before the Paris Agreement. So by that declaration, we are responding on how the Muslim world should having an attitude or action on the global climate change situation. This is not only climate change now, but as well as climate crisis. I'm starting to writing books on that. The books will be finished maybe this year. This is the title of the book. Last Generation. This will be in Bahasa. And inshallah will be translated in Arabic as well in English. So the title is Activism in Muslim World, how how they protect the climate crisis and the environmental problem. There's so many things have to. If I can share just some picture here regarding the book, as we studied that Muslim world is the most impacted by the climate crisis. You can see the phenomenon of Sharia war is started not by a social conflict. It started by the drought. It started by the disappear of water because of drought, of the long drought, and the fail of harvest. And we also see that there's a challenge of when Hosni Mubarak was then failed to import the yeast or gandum from another country, particularly from Soviet Union, and they have make agreement for importing the food, but because it's so dependable with the food from outside, and at that time the long drought happened in Soviet Union, so they stopped the import for food for Egypt, and Egypt was cannot handle, and the food price was increased, and then the protests come to the road. We have also experience under climate crisis. Long drought in 1997 was then become a political for Suharto because of we are fail gagal panen, and many of our rice field was dry, and the rice was up and even disappear in the market. So this related to the human need, and we can see now that climate is now in our daily life. I made a survey in Jakarta. There's a picture on it. I have to share. Picture on. Sorry, can I share screen?
Yes, Prof. Yeah.
This masjid situated in Kerawang. This will be in my book. This masjid now just right on the bibir pantai on the beach, and cannot be used for Jum'ah prayer or anything if the water are up. It can be only used when the water are shallow. This masjid was about 1.2 kilometer before. It was established in 2000, about 2000, and now just directly to the periphery of the coastal areas. This is in the northern part of Jakarta. So many mosques also have been drowned in Jakarta. So we call it the sinking cities in Jakarta. So many picture on that. You can browse it in Google. Jakarta sinking city. We have a problem. And if you go to the northern part of Jakarta, if you take the wudu in the oldest train area in Jakarta, the water are salty, and they have to import the water for drink. They have to bring from another side. They have to buy water for life. Something very ironic for us in the developing countries. So that is why, as a scholar, we are not stopping by that we are, as Habib showing that we have to move to another many practicalities as well. We train at the Center of Islamic Study. We train hundreds of clerics together with us. We are in collaborating with Majelis Ulama Indonesia. So we have produced this kind of module. This based on patwa, the protection of wildlife for the balance of the ecosystem. This is in Bahasa. You can see the PTI and the Center for Islamic Studies, UNAS. This is available for in the PDF. This is also the Jum'ah, environmental Jum'ah and conservation Jum'ah with the same theme about how to maintain the earth and same thing. And we disseminate that to many areas in Sumatra that we capable to reach with our college, NGOs, and also universities. And we have trained hundreds. We hope more because this dissemination of many problem in environment should be responded not only by a government, but we need also what we call a collective action. So that is why NGOs, religious communities, and masjid, musalas, pesantren should be included. So, and should be massive. We heard about the Santan Prabelan of Habib Chirzin, been a long time on as a pesantren, but we need another pesantren to do the same. So that is why I'm trying now to have a program on how to establish eco pesantren tracking system, which is will be exchanged how to share the module, to share the practicalities, best practice, and etc. etc. Also through this online system, we can do it, and we can share that through the Muslim communities in Indonesia as well in the community in Malaysia, perhaps in the future for the Islamic world. So the education is very important as basic for our future generation. So we concern about education. I think that is the dialogue. So for the introduction, hopefully you have a chance to see our website, ppi.unas.ac.id, or you just Google it, Patwa Satwa Langka or Wildlife Patwa Indonesia. You can share it. It's so many or climate change and Islam Indonesia. Is will be shared by Google. Inshallah, we have a good dialogue.
Thank
I
you.
return back the microphone to Saran and Pak Habib.
Thank you, Prof. Fachruddin, Pak Habib, which is a very, very important topic. As we all know, now the global warming issues, and now lately all this chemical in our food, and these are all serious concern. And we hope the effort by Prof. Fachruddin, Pak Habib will be meaningful for our future generation, inshallah. Normally we take question from the chat box. Since we are not many, if anyone want to ask question, can raise hand, and then we can unmute, inshallah. Habib, Prof. Fachruddin, if you want to add more, please go ahead. We have 10 more minutes.
Just for your information that after the Uppsala climate change conference in 1998, we have organized in Asia, in Bangkok, on the follow-up of the Uppsala conference on the climate change by Aman Asian Muslim Action Network with Fachruddin and some brothers from UK, from different parts of the world. And actually the association of the global summit for the interfaith summit against the climate change has been also organized in Uppsala in December 2008. And I myself have been involving just right before the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. We have two conferences, once in Austria. It was in 1992. It was in Vienna. It's about our common future. Because we drafted also, if the United Nations, they have drafted the Earth Charter, we drafted the Earth Governance. Just to prepare, in case they need the draft, we came out with drafts on the Earth Governance. It's organized only by the GEA, the Global Education Associates, with the Center for Our Common Future by Prince Liechtenstein. It's just our common effort on the global climate change. And I'm happy to share with you that long before this Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, I was invited to Rio de Janeiro. I visited the Amazons, the long Amazon River, and also to meet this orang asli, the indigenous people of the Amazons. They are rich. They are rich in the biodiversity. Amazon is the richest biodiversity in the world. And I was invited in July 1979. We went to Alagamar, to Arakazu, to Nova Iguazu, Alexandria. And the issue of the climate change has not been becoming the common issue, because the issue has been the mostly on the protection of the forest, the rainforest of the Amazon. And eco development has been organized by the group of environmentalists in Washington DC. And that I first met with Vandana Siva, one of the promoters of the advocates of the environment, Vandana Siva from India, Walden Bello from the Global South, and also from Malaysia, Sister Yok Ling from the Third World Network, and Sam, Sahabat Alam Malaysia. And Pak Adi Sasono and the It's Me has invited Yok Ling and her group from this Sahabat Alam Malaysia to come to Jakarta, and also Anwar Fazal and Uncle Idris. I call him Uncle Idris from Sahabat Alam Malaysia and from the Consumer Association of Penang, CAP. That's what I would like to share with you, that the Green Ramadan actually is the contextualization of Ramadan, contextualization of the Al-Asala, the teaching of Islam on Ramadan in the current situation of COVID. And also the need for future, the need for future orientation and future literacy. I think we have to learn more about the possibilities of our plan for the futures, especially when we came to these Muslim societies in the post-normal times. Our brother Dr. Chirzin Sardar and Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, they have been very active in promoting this futures Islamic futures studies, and I would like to draw the attention of sisters and brothers about this Islamic futures, especially post normal time. So thank you, Brother Saran. And Dr. Fachruddin, you could also add some of the technicalities.
Okay, yes, of course, our Ramadan is challenging now in because of COVID. We have closed our masjid last year's, and we are beginning to have another model of of coming to the masjid by more cleanless our hand and having wudu before going to the masjid, and etc. etc. But Alhamdulillah, the COVID now decreasing. Alhamdulillah, because of I think because of the vaccine, and I'm also survival. and Alhamdulillah, we understand that this disease is serious, and we are as an environmentalist, we are concerned with where's this COVID virus coming from. And we learned that this is because we at first in June was publishing in Nature. The virus is 98% similar with DNA that coming from the zoonosis, the virus coming from the bat. And the bat was collected from their habitat. And our concern is why they are collected from habitat, because the human are always hungry and have want to explore anything that different with sensation, eating wild animal. And that is why the illegal wildlife trade is rampant. Now, illegal wildlife trade is also a problem from the ecological perspective, because it might consume any wildlife animal and bring the animal from the wildlife to our home. 70-80% zoonosis, according with WHO, is coming from the wild animal. It's including pests, including we know Nipah from Malaysia, and we know also because of eating animal, we have many disease from Africa, AIDS as well, and many zoonosis are coming from the animal. Zoonosis is impacted the human life now, and that is why our harmony with nature must be reflected, because we bring nature to our house. We have to care. We have to respect the nature, actually, because they are God creation. They are al-ayah. They are sign on earth. If we don't have nature, we don't have a subject to study. And as we know, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepting the revelation in the nature, and the Prophet Moses is also seeing God in the nature. So what happened if our nature are destroyed? It means we are destroying the sign on earth. And what happened if the species is missing? It means an ayah missing. We will be protest with an ayah missing on the text, but we not protest if rhino missing as an ayah of God. As I said at first of my opening, that Surah Al Imran said that everything on earth and the heaven is ayat. Al-ayatil ulil albab. This is our concern. This is our reflection. I think in this Ramadan, how God been provided us with the nature, and by that we are ready with water, we are ready with any animal and plants that we can eat and food with stable climate. So what happened with the climate? Because of the greediness of human, we cut the trees, we combusting the as unsustainable energy resources, and we are polluting the atmosphere and make it the climate crisis. So we have to reflect on that. It's because of our consumption, human consumption, not only me, but you. It is us. It is our Muslim world. It is our global effort to get together, and we are on the crisis. If I would like to add to what Jane Goddard say, she said that human species might threaten to extinction because of their behavior to the nature. And we understand nature is very important in our faith because nature is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Fachruddin. Thank you, Pak Habib. I think this topic need to be elaborated more. Maybe we can organize one whole day or a series of discussion on what they call it, preservation, on global climate issues, inshallah. So inshallah, we invite all friends again tomorrow, and inshallah every day we'll have this session, sharing session with our invited scholars just to share our concern. Our main topic is Ramadan and the spirit of one Ummah. We are all together in this world, inshallah, and we hope we are also together in the day after, inshallah. Thank you, Pak Habib. Thank you, Prof. Fachruddin, and thank you, everyone. We'll see everyone again next time, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.